is a champion to be born.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Cash, and we are here today to talk about Elden Ring. Yes, right above my head. Now, I saw the 20-minute gameplay, right? But it's crazy because they're already giving out a beta, well, network test codes, which I did not get one. Someone else I know got one. Anyway, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. There are also people right now today, literally as I'm speaking, there's multiple videos dropping of people playing. It's kind of like the content creator early access, which I also didn't get that either. It allowed us to see a lot of stuff like the UI in the game, a lot of the stuff that you saw in the 20-minute gameplay, and I feel like this is a little bit more in depth of a lot of the stuff that was in that 20-minute gameplay, but now you can kind of see how it works. So of course, as you guys know, if I'm ever using anyone else's gameplay footage or anything like that, I will give them credit, but this person needs no credit, baby. This is the big boss, Vate Vidya. This man is a huge content creator, especially for the Soul series and things like that. I did utilize his videos more specifically because what I like is that he explains a lot of things. So I'm going to be you'll see like splashes of his video when I need to explain something specifically, but mostly it'll be me and you right here. But I will link his video in the description. It literally dropped about probably like an hour ago, and I'm just going through it and detailing it. But of course, one of the biggest things that people have been complaining, including myself, is about that this game basically looks like Dark Souls 4. And I do agree to that. I do think it is pretty much Dark Souls 4. And I realized the reason why they didn't call it Dark Souls 4 is because of the same reason why they didn't call the other game God of War 4. Why a lot of games sometimes go with this like reset, they different title. This game is literally just kind of meant to be a completely different beast. And what I mean by that, like it's like, of course, yes, the little horseback riding stuff, it makes it different. Oh, you can jump. Oh my god, there's jumping. You can jump in a Dark Souls game. I'm like, I mean, in Demon Souls you could technically, like, you know, go up a ledge or two if you really needed to, but I feel like it's more than that. I think that the open worldness of it, and when I was watching his gameplay and I'm starting to watch other people's gameplay, one of the more important things is the dungeon mechanic. Now I want to go on to the positives of it, and I definitely want to talk about some of the negatives later on in the video. Now the first thing that I want to show is the UI. So the UI, as you can see, is the upper here. You see the health, you see the FP bar, which is like the magic bar, and this is the stamina right here. You can see here the bottom left shield. You know, this is we've seen this 18 days in a row, you know what I'm saying? And then this is whatever he gets. This is a boss of Tree Sentinel. That was just a thing that he happened to be fighting. There are a ton of bosses in the game currently. As far as I can see, that there is a bunch of like mini bosses put out everywhere. Even the bosses in the dungeon, I don't even consider them like bosses, but I feel bad because I feel like one of my favorite things to watch as a speedrun connoisseur is to watch an all boss, you know, run through of a game. And I feel like this would be torturous because there's bosses in the field, there's bosses in dungeons, there's bosses, obviously, like main story bosses that actually cause like a big hoorah when you kill them. So I'm just like, I really feel like there's going to be a lot of bosses, and I watched this and he kills about like 5 of them. I feel like he kills a decent amount of bosses within his run through, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of content. I'm hoping that this game, and I've heard it said once, and it really bottled my mind around it. I was like, maybe it is. Maybe this will be a Dark Souls mixed with Elder Scrolls kind of game, and that really depends on the lore of the game. Now, I want to just give you quickly about something, how I played Elder Scrolls back in the day. And I remember I played Elder Scrolls, I think it was the Skyrim, because obviously there's different types of it, and I played it and I literally got not stuck, but I got immersed into the mage. It was like the mage guild quest, and I did that whole quest line, or at least I think I did. I did a decent amount of it, and I felt like I did so much. I didn't feel like, but I forgot what Skyrim was even about. Like all the commercials of Skyrim is about screaming at dragons and getting dragon things, all that stuff. I completely forgot about that, and because I did this one mage stuff, and I was like, wow, this. I feel like I was doing a DLC that they added into the. You know how now games add DLCs into the game, and it's like this big long thing. I felt like that's what I did. So I'm hoping that this game, with all of these dungeons, all of these characters that are sitting outside, talking to you, giving you warnings about stuff, I hope that this game has enough content that if you want to go on a bunch of side quests, you will be benefited. And if you want to go straight for the juggler, which looks like these big shining trees out there, then you could do that too. But it's really going to be dependent on how much lore and how much side questing you can do. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention is, of course, the combat in the game. I feel like the combat seems like it's good because it's literally Dark Souls. They did add a couple other extra things into the game that we've been able to see, and I do think that the stuff that they did add should make things a little interesting, but of course I'm very afraid of it being too easy. And what am I talking about? I'm of course talking about the summons. Now, you don't know where this is, but just keep an eye on the mana bar up here, and of course this is spoilers if you guys want to avoid spoilers completely. I know some people want to go completely blind to the game, that's fine. But I feel like knowing some of this stuff is going to be important to whether or not you want to really play. I'm saying keep an eye on the mana bar, and when he actually summons his doggies. We've seen these magic already in the game. Here it is. I was trying to wait for the time they did it. So look, he's gonna summon the Lone Wolf Ashes, right? So you can see that it takes a decent amount of his mana, and he's gonna summon these 3 dogs. Now that's just the one he has equipped at the time being, and they do take aggro.
This lets you know that you can summon help. And once again, these wolf boys are a very powerful tool.
Now, as you can see, like, they definitely have like a lot of the bosses from what I've saw definitely have a decent amount of AoE attacks. They probably have a specific coding to do them when they see the help, and then also like if you start to run in and try to attack with them, you will get hit, and that's pretty cool. And these are just this one. Even in the 20-minute gameplay, we've seen a decent amount of them. So there's different type of helps, and I'm pretty sure some of them are going to be a little bit stronger. And as you can see from, let me back it up a little bit. How long it actually takes him to conjure it, that's a free heal, you know, like
the screen there's a little symbol, looks like a gravestone. This lets you know.
So he ran backwards a little bit like that, and then boop, put that out, and then he can heal out of that. He could heal, he could probably reapply some resin and stuff like that. I do feel like that has to be very, very, very carefully monitored. The reason why I think it should be heavily monitored is just because of getting breathing time in a Souls game is really big. It's really, really big. And even if the boss was to take out all of them in one swoop, that could be a heal. Like I said, a heal, a rebuff, some type of big, obviously you can also use it to use a big attack. If they stay along, even if they live longer, then you could really get some damage in, especially if you are a mage, if you are doing anything of that nature. So they really have to be careful with it. And it was actually when I first saw the gameplay, and I was like, I don't know, man, the summons seem like they're a little bit, that they last a little long. Like I think that could be changed just a little bit. And that's just a brief concern. And obviously, this is the early stages of this. This is people playing an early build. This is people playing, like, maybe there is a whole thing where you actually want a really strong summon. I think summoning in a game is pretty cool, to be fair, and I just hope that there's some type of balance to it. Like, as you guys know me, I like to go YOLO, glass cannon, mage, so maybe I can actually have a super, super strong summon by investing into it, and versus someone else that didn't invest into summoning, so their summon is trash, or maybe it takes one hit and maybe that's all they wanted to do. So I hope that there is more build accommodating to it or accompanying it that makes it more of a decision and makes it more like, oh, I want my summons to do a lot of damage. Because if you look at the gameplay, the 20-minute gameplay, you will actually see that, you know, summons are taking out enemies for some people. So I'm thinking like, I wonder if that's a whole build that you can go to, or is it like this little weird item, almost like something that you just kind of have out there that if you need it real quick, you just kind of use it. Next thing that I wanted to kind of touch on was like the weapon arts in the game. Now, we saw the weapon arts a little bit, right? We saw them a little tiny bit in the 20-minute gameplay, and it seemed like the people had, like the enemies had it, and then you also had it, right? So what I liked about this is that I'm going to show this briefly. It's in the middle of another boss fight. That's what he mostly fights anyway. So in the middle of another boss fight, I'm just going to show this clip. You don't have to see too much of it, right? Just be relaxed. So as you can see, he put fire on a twin blade, right? So he has the spinning slash, right? I'm gonna skip through. I think you see him do it once, right? You see the mana go here.
So
boom, that's the spinning slash right there. That's the spinning slash. Now he is going to enhance this thing, and let's see, I can skim through it. This is this lovely little scene here. So you see past time, because there is looks like there is a day and night cycle. There are certain stuff that happens only at certain points of times of the day, which is awesome. I think that, pretty sure that Elder Scrolls had this as well. Level up, the different classes you have, the spells, mixed wondrous physics, Ashes of War, which I'm trying to show you guys now. And as you can see, there's vigor, mind, endurance. Mind is usually like how many spells you can kind of hold on to. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, faith, and then there's arcane. As we can see, fire, lightning, and holy. There's also poise in this game as well. So I'm assuming this is robust or something of that nature. Like your poise broken, then like someone can get a critical hit on you. So they have that in the game as well. So I'm gonna actually let Vati kind of explain this because he explains it really well. So pretty much, as you can see here, the twin blade, like I showed you just a couple seconds ago, is that you had the spinning blade? I already forgot what it has. But now he's going to put something completely different on top of it.
Ash of War, which you can designate.
Now it has the Glintstorm arc.
At the bonfire. They're really interesting. Ashes of War add a different weapon art or skill to your weapon. That's what this one is.
So now, instead of him doing the spinny spins, he now has 4 daggers that come out that target onto an enemy. Also, as you just saw, it turns his weapon into magic. This kind of thing is really huge. Before, you had to go through a different type of blacksmith, right? You had to give him an ore or some sort of thing, and then once you got that, then you can do it. But if it's just simply going into a dungeon, beating certain dungeons, and then you have that, and then as you can see, he kind of just equipped it on. I'm assuming you can put it on a different weapon, you can kind of move them around. That also could mean that that specific thing, maybe he has it on the twin blade, maybe he could just switch it onto a straight sword, on a rapier, or a curved sword, or a lance, and then kind of see what kind of, like, it could actually branch a lot of different things depending on how many different archetypes you can put it on there, or if it at the very least just makes it that weapon now scales off magic, which he does mention. That would be of course really cool, especially for people that are trying to just quickly adapt something to a build. Like, oh, I want to make this a holy weapon, I want to make this a lightning weapon, a fire weapon, magic weapon. It's easy to do that, of course, or dexterity scaling or something of that nature. So I'm hoping that that is something that they kind of keep into the, well, obviously it's going to be in the game, but I'm just trying to say, I guess, that I like it. I like that that's something you're going to go around the dungeon. Like I said, he goes to multiple dungeons because you're on horseback. You can literally pick a spot on the map, go to a dungeon, clear it out real quick, and I feel like people will be, especially once people route the game, depending on how much content is in the game, it's going to be really easy to pick a certain starting point. Like this guy Vati wanted to get the twin blades. He knew where it was, and now he showed in the video where to get it, so now people can start off with that and then do PvP. But PvP is going to be the thing, which he doesn't really show in this video because obviously he has to play by himself to do it. But he did mention in another video that PvP right now, I think, is you can only invade in dungeons. Now, obviously, as an invader, I personally would not want to invade someone and be like, oh, where is he? Oh, he's on the other side of the country? Oh, fantastic. So it is good that they did limit to where you are able to be invaded on, but they did, I think he just mentioned dungeons. I'm assuming it's going to be like smaller dungeons and then also the really, really big ones, because you need to be able to like kind of interfere, because when you sign up or like load up or whatever, there's the issue that Deathloop actually had. Deathloop had that you can only invade when they're pretty much coming after a visionary, aka when they're only in the realm of doing something semi-important. When you limit where you can invade people, it does sometimes make it a big of an issue, but Deathloop was a somewhat of a smaller game, right, than what this Elden Ring is going to be. It's going to be very active. Even, which was crazy, even watching Demon Souls or people play Demon Souls recently, it's still active. So I do feel like for Elden Ring, especially the first couple months, it will still be very active. People will definitely be invading. I do wonder what you get as a reward for beating people in invasions, but more importantly, as you guys know, well, actually you might not know, because this is a YouTube channel, I used to love Dark Souls 2. I think Dark Souls 2 had the best PvP. Dark Souls 3 did okay, but it was just like a bunch of fancy stuff, not a much utility in some of the stuff. I think Dark Souls 2 actually had the best. It was very easy to set up fight clubs and stuff like that, and I used to run a ton of them. I was like I did the illegal activity, okay? I was the fight club man. I really hope that we could do that in this game. We could set up a spot, whether you beat an area or not, or whether you beat a dungeon or not. We're gonna find the best most even playing ground and do some illegal activity and just start having some fight clubs and then letting people see, like, because PvP is pretty much the end game of the game. Like, once you've done all the lore or looked it up on YouTube, you want to have the ability to kind of have fun with this crazy build that you have. If you guys are not familiar with, most of the time there's always a community. I think there's already an Elden Ring Reddit, and most of the time people will pick a location. We call them fight clubs or anything of that nature. You call whatever you want, but there will be places where there will be a certain level depending on how the depending on how the matchmaking is set up. We'll have a specific level, like everyone stay at level 100 so everyone can matchmake with each other, or 150. Usually there's different tiers. It's almost like boxing or MMA fighting and stuff like that. Like, what is the best, you know, like thing that's the most even. Sometimes there's people that are like, oh, I'll fight at 200, level 200, and I'll have like everything unlocked. Or you have like a 50 where you can only kind of have like certain things. You can only build towards certain things. You have to kind of like balance it out. So I'm really interested to see how that's going to work. But they did say that within the matchmaking, it's the person, the owner of the room, you know, you, and then they have the assistant or your summon, your blue summon, and then the invader. But they're only saying that there might be only one invader slot. So one invader slot would make it really hard to do fight clubs, because usually in fight club you want to have two invaders, people to invade you. But it could be that that extra slot is only 4 people, right? So either it could be you, it's you, 2 blues, and then an invader. Maybe it can be you, a blue, and then 2 invaders, which would be pretty good, because then you can really organize. As long as you can have 2 invaders by choice, that's all the good that you need. That's the only good that you personally need, and I really hope that that's a thing. So far, I think that the game is looking phenomenal. I do think that it could be great, but it really depends on the further content that they're gonna have into the game. How rich in lore, story, side questing. I think that the main game will be fine, but I do think that you will be able to, because of how vast the world is. Usually games that are this big mean that if you wanted to play it linear, you could probably beat the game in like a few hours, which I would assume you could. You could probably blow through the game in like a couple, I'm gonna call it, like, some people are gonna just be like, I want to beat the game, I want to beat the game, and they're gonna fly through it. So I really hope that the side questing really blossoms and really forces you, because it is still, it's not an RPG where you're forced to take damage, you know, and like I feel like that's how RPGs kind of force you to level up. This game, if I can dodge, if I learn the boss's mechanics, I could beat the game. I could beat the bosses. I can go straight through it. So I'm really interested to see exactly how amazing Elden Ring will get. If I can get a code, I'll show you guys any gameplay I'm allowed to, but I currently do not have one, unfortunately. But I definitely will be watching. I'm already watching as much as I can and give you guys as much feedback. Let me know what you guys think about what you've seen so far. YFOs in the comment section below. Let me know how you feel about Elden Ring and all the gameplay that's coming out. If you have a Souls-based content creator, he definitely or she definitely dropped a video today about their experience in the game. Let me know what you guys think. You will definitely see it on the channel when it comes out. If I can stream it, I'll stream it. But that will be that's a whole different issue and problem altogether. I think that's all I have to say about it. Like I said, it's Dark Souls 4, but with those slight differences, it's looking like it could be a really strong starting point for Elden Ring 2 and possibly a 3, depending on how like the story goes. Like, comment, subscribe, and just remember that every day at the Cash you lose your lucky day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.